Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Talk Conversation Series, a peer knowledge resource by the CXOs for the CXOs. Now to our host, Kanika Goswami.
Hi, we welcome you to our podcast On Stage with Enterprise Thought Leaders. My name is Kanika Goswami and I'm the managing editor of On Media's 6 B2B enterprise technology publications. We regularly have engaging conversations with global thought leaders and industry experts, and these conversations typically reach about 1.3 million business leaders worldwide. Today we have with us Param Kahlon, the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Automation and Integration at Salesforce. Great to have you with us today, Param. It's really lovely we get an opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Kanika.
Pleasure. A little bit about Param, and then I'll ask him to tell us something about his company, what they're planning to do in the near future. He brings to Salesforce more than 20 years of experience in the enterprise software space, having led the development and management of successful products for some of the industry's leading companies. He will be bringing hyper automation to the future of Salesforce with data, artificial intelligence, and CRM. Prior to joining Salesforce in 2023, Param was with UiPath, where he was Chief Product Officer, leading the organization to become the leading automation platform. He began his product management career at Siebel Systems, where he played a critical role in managing products for field service, call center, and customer order management. As far as education goes, Param holds an MBA from Carnegie Mellon and has a BS Computer Science from Punjab University in India. Great to have you with us, Param. Is there something you want to tell us about Salesforce that we don't already know, which is like quite a bit?
Well, Salesforce, a lot of people know Salesforce as the CRM company, the company that brings customer service and sales application. And I'd say that that's where we started. However, our portfolio now covers essentially all enterprise business applications, from productivity applications like Slack to enterprise business analytics with Tableau. We have marketing automation, the leading marketing automation applications. The part of the business that I'm involved with is focused on integration and automation. It focuses on helping companies integrate different silos of data that exist in the application, and also drive automation to make sure people can get the work done quickly without having to be bottlenecked by human capacity.
So my first question to you is about APIs. How would you define the significance of APIs in the development and deployment of AI business applications, artificial intelligence-based business applications? And what role do you think it plays in the seamless integration of diverse technology stacks? Artificial intelligence being one of them, or even other technology stacks which have to be integrated in your platforms. What role do you think APIs play? What is their significance?
Yeah, this is a really good question and very, very timely. We see the world of AI is really the world of APIs. We recently actually did a study and published it. We call it the Connectivity Benchmark Report across Salesforce and MuleSoft, where we were trying to understand the challenges that companies are facing in deploying AI business applications, and how integration, automation, and APIs can help build successful AI strategies. What we found out in the study was that, first of all, 85% of the IT leaders we spoke to expect that AI will drive developer productivity of business people within the application, within the enterprise. And that's a great relief, because at the same time, they're also seeing a 39% increase in requests that are driving, requests for bringing AI into the enterprise. However, when we drill the next click, 62% of them also said that the organization today isn't quite equipped to deal with the challenges of harmonizing the different data systems that they have to fully leverage AI. Because for AI to make those meaningful predictions, it really has to reason over the comprehensiveness of the data that's available and all the interaction the company is having with its partners and customers and suppliers and everybody else. And that inability to get all the data together in a timely fashion is impending this transition to AI-driven business applications and putting a strain on their teams. We also saw that 98% of the IT organizations reported experiencing at least some degree of challenge with their business transformation initiatives, the digital transformation initiative that was started many years ago. And 80% of them, outside of just AI driven things, 80% of them cited that the data silos was a big concern in putting all of these things together. And the spread of systems across the enterprise is continuing to increase.
So clearly one of the most significant parts of any kind of transformation, you would say, right? What do you see as the biggest challenges for the developers while they're leveraging APIs to power AI apps? And what are the best ways to secure and govern APIs for doing it? So security is always a concern when you talk about APIs. What are the best ways to get past?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, first of all, we see that the challenges that companies are facing in harmonizing the different data together, to bring it together so that AI algorithms can work. But then to leverage AI and to bring all this data together, you need a lot of AIs. We see that the number of APIs that an organization has will continue to grow exponentially over time, right? It has already taken off in a big way with the arrival of AI applications, and we feel that APIs are going to continue to grow significantly. Now, as you grow these number of AIs, it also increases the attack vector that companies face around these APIs, because many of these APIs are available not just for internal consumption in the firewall, but also exposed for other parties outside of the enterprise to be able to leverage. And that causes the issues in making sure that you can govern and manage the life cycle of these APIs. By governance, you can write rules. We just released a policy development kit, which said we have a lot of policies that can manage the governance of APIs and how the APIs are being used. But our customers may imagine many other ways in which they want to govern how the APIs are being used, how you're rate limiting, who's allowed to call them, at what time, at what IP addresses are allowed to invoke this API, and what time horizon. Any sorts of rules that companies want to create to manage and govern these policies can be created using the policy development kit. So, to answer a question, a comprehensive strategy around the life cycle of APIs, from how you're building them, how you're designing them. Are you making sure that you're designing them with security in its design artifact, as opposed to thinking about the security after it's being deployed? And then as you're deploying the API, how do you manage the runtime governance of that API being called? Not just design time. In design time, you want to manage it as it's got security artifacts in there, but you also want to manage the runtime and say, are we making sure that there is no abuse of this API beyond the regular use of business that's driving this consumption? And that's what a good API management strategy for companies could be relevant for.
Would you say that there are some extra steps that developers or organizations need to take to make sure that there is no, as far as possible, no risk factor involved, with APIs when they're integrating tech stacks or some such thing? Or is it just as you said, while they are developing it, security has to be a big part of the software plans? But after that, beyond that, is there something more that organizations need to know, be aware of, or do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously always start from the design aspects of designing that API, building that API. Look at it across. Security isn't something you only think in isolation at the end or at the beginning. You think about it across the entire thing. But even the best of managed APIs that are built by companies, you still have to make sure that you are managing the consumption of those APIs during runtime as well. If you see abnormality in the APIs being consumed, if you see a certain pattern of those APIs being called from more frequently from certain locations or certain applications, you want to know exactly how that is being caused and have really good instrumentation built into your monitoring and diagnostic stacks to be able to make sure that you're able to alert the right people around the consumption abnormalities that you're seeing, so that those anomalies can be detected in real time, as opposed to much later, and you can very quickly be able to take action in real time, as opposed to trying to do the diagnosis and manage things in real time. So yes, we feel that the security of the APIs is extremely important in every aspect of the API lifecycle, from the minute you're writing the specification of the API, to the design of the API, to building that API, to deployment and governance around the runtime of that. We really feel that it's really important to make sure you're looking at this in a comprehensive manner.
How will business teams and IT teams work together with artificial intelligence to increase productivity? Now, this question is a bit generic, but it would be nice if you could focus it on something which you think really needs a lot of attention at this point in time.
It's a really good question. First of all, with AI, it further, complicates the technical landscape. In the report that we just referenced earlier, we found that on average, a company has 995 different applications across the landscape that they're trying to bring together to make sure AI can act on each one of them. So there's two parts of this. There's one is, how do you make sure that all the data across these applications come together, so that the AI algorithm that's being trained and executed has the real-time access to the holistic data. But then also, if the actions that need to be taken out of the predictions that your AI algorithms are giving you, if they need to happen in all of these systems, how can you make sure that business, which really understands the actions, which predictions to act on, how, is able to act on them in a low-code fashion and drive those automations, right? The predictions aren't really worth a lot if they're not being acted upon. And because these predictions are going to come at really high scale, and businesses in the best position to really understand the implications of those predictions, which ones to act on, which ones to sit on, which ones to ignore for the time being, business has to be in the driving seat to make sure that they can act on and automate the actions that are coming out of this. So as we're looking at this, we're looking at, for the success of AI, it's really important that business and IT teams are working together to drive this productivity. We and that's the reason, like, we've organized ourselves at Salesforce into this chapter called integration and automation, because historically, and a lot of companies still today look at these as different product categories. Oh, integration platforms is something that IT does. Oh, automation is something that the business is doing and they're driving and they're in charge of. But we really feel that by bringing these two things together, you can really get your IT teams and business teams to work together, so that the role of IT in the automation landscape is to understand what business is doing and enable them and facilitate them to act at scale, while ensuring that all of the things around security, around governance, around compliance are adhered to. So by creating the same platform on which all of your monitoring, all of your diagnostics, all of your governance is happening across both integration and automation, you're enabling IT to be in the business of letting business drive the automation that they want to do, but ensuring that you're able to act on anything that, as an IT stakeholder, that you see that is not according to the governance and compliance things that your organization stands for. And that's where, when we look at sort of our role at Salesforce, integration and automation, we believe, we're in the business of helping companies unify all of their data, then connect their data to the AI tools and services, so that you can get the real-time AI results, and then taking those AI results and predictions to help drive business automations that business can go ahead and create.
Right. I think in the first question, you touched upon how AI helps to increase employee productivity. A little bit more in detail on in what ways do you think AI? Because the general idea is that AI can just replace a whole lot of resources. till about last year. This year, we did not have conversations of AI completely replacing resources. There was an idea of enhancing their skills. So, how do you see what actually is the balancing point where AI will actually help increase the productivity without threat of eating up jobs? How does
Yeah.
that work?
I think it's a really good question. So the role of AI that we've seen till now is really around helping humans get their work done while they don't have to, spend a lot of time on the repetitive, the mundane aspects of their job that really slow them down in their ability to drive business results. And we've seen that across all stakeholders, from our people that are writing code and are programmers and technical jobs, to the people that are purely on the business side, and their, maybe their job is to take data and put it together so that business actions can be taken and do it, really fast. And we believe that AI drives productivity for every scenario. So as a developer, for example, we've put AI into our development tools so that our anypoint code builder, which is how we build automate integration flows and things, has now natural language prompts so that you can tell it as a developer. You can say, create me an integration that takes this data and combines it with this system over there, and it generates the template code. It's not replacing the developer. It's really making sure that the details of the syntax, the details of the abstractness of that code can be created by by AI, and then the developer can go ahead and tweak it and adjust it and do the things that they need to do to make sure that the code can be deployed in production. The same thing on the business side. Business has a lot of repetitive manual work that business people do, and a lot of that is tied to the fact that systems aren't connected to each other, so they're double data entering across those systems, or they've got information that comes in unstructured forms and in documents, and they have to extract information from a document and enter it into a business application, and that takes a lot of time. Now AI is able to help with that stuff. With our automation tools, you're able to understand unstructured information, extract the structured content from, let's say you got an invoice, and just like a human eye can scan a piece of document, look at it and say it's an invoice, and extract the relevant information from it to put it into the accounts payable system. Our algorithms on the automation side are able to do the same, so that the automation program is extracting the information, putting it into the line of business application, and at some point you bring the human into the loop to say, I want you to validate the information that I extracted, because my confidence level in extracting this information wasn't 99.99%. It was only 92%. So can you validate? And you can see the document, see the extracted information, correct or validate what it is, and then go ahead and go forward. And that validation continues to feed back and make that algorithm better, so that more and more can then be automated.
So while on AI, how does the growing AI footprint contribute to increased security risks in the context of employee productivity, as well as all other places where AI applications are being used? Do you think? Yes, I mean, we all know that AI also helps increase risks and also helps fight them, right? Your views on this?
Yeah. So the AI footprint is, like I said earlier, it is going to accelerate the ability for a business to bring scale in and bring rapidness and execution of business processes to that. When we talked in the connectivity report, when we talked to our stakeholders, they said, the IT leader said that 33% of their business operations today are happening through either AI or non-AI related APIs, right? Because APIs is really the way stakeholders are looking at driving consumption of the automated business processes, and AI really helps drive more of that automation by taking that from 35% to in the future maybe around 50-60%. However, we also noticed that as companies are using more and more APIs, both in volume, the cyber attacks, API specific cyber attacks in the last year have jumped about 137%. So it is a big attack vector, just like when the internet came in the 2000s, and it was a great boon to productivity and how companies could open web shops and start to sell, didn't have to have storefronts. But then what happened after that was all these attacks that happened on browsers, where people were trying to figure out how to get more information through to the browser with technology. We'll see the same on AI and API related use of businesses. That we expect will continue to jump. And that's why some of the things that we are investing in, like our policy development kit, which is part of the Flex Gateway, which is part of our API management product, it helps developers protect those APIs that power business applications, including all of the AI apps.
One last question, and again, very generic, but please pick and choose what you want to speak about. What are the latest technology trends in the automation industry?
Yeah, I think, when you look at automation specifically, it is still a source of contention between the IT and the business. The business users greatly benefit from automating their work. There's a lot of manual work that business users do, and they want to automate that with using low-code tools, and really want to be in the driving seat there. They really want to have all the flexibility to do that. And then the majority of the IT departments are still trying to figure out what is this business doing and how are they doing to make sure they're doing it in a secure, in a governed way. So you say, in 2/3 of the automations project, the IT is the only gatekeeper of making sure that they're doing things in a governed way, and there's others 33% where business is doing something without really a whole lot of knowledge about how the automation is being built. And with Salesforce, what we've done is we've essentially looked at that problem, and we said this is no longer just a business problem, or no longer just an IT problem. We really have to look at this in a comprehensive way, because AI is really going to exacerbate this problem, because more and more of AI automations are going to be built by the business that is actually better knowledgeable about how to act on these predictions and want to do it without having to wait for IT to create it as a longer term project. So we believe that we want to provide an AI-driven automation and integration solution that our customers can use to automate their processes and boost productivity. So in that respect, we provide tools, intelligent tools for developers to drive their productivity with code builder solutions, business with the tools to boost their productivity by auto-generating workflows through natural language prompts, and creating AI skills like intelligent document processing or Doc AI to bring those information into business application systems. We're still scratching the surface of how much potential automation has today in the business landscape, and we believe that there's a lot more work that can be automated through the collaboration between business and IT.
So I have to thank you for the answers, and it was really nice talking to you. Thank you for taking time and speaking with us today. Thanks, Param.
Thank you so much for having me, Kanika. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please do follow us on social media for regular updates and new content.